Welcome to Moon Eye's World. This video right here is so important. As those of you who have watched my previous videos know that I was romance scammed for 3 years. And I was going to do a story time, but what I am going to do, because I have to do things creatively, okay? So what I am going to do is I'm going to give receipts and I'm going to talk about my experiences as well. And so that I can paint a picture, because this message, this video is important, okay? So what we're going to talk about first are these two text messages that I received from my ex, Michael. And the first one was after I almost died. I was working so hard that I had a panic attack where I lost a lot of fluids and I was almost out of here a little over a year ago. So I was mad after that. I was upset because I knew that something was going on. Something was up. So I am going to go to a dream that I had like 10 years ago. And this was way before I met Michael. Now, keep in mind that this is coming from someone who believed the hype that we are from Africa, which is why I rebuke, shout out to my grandma, but I rebuke that term African American, okay? I'm a Black American, I'm a Native Black American, I'm a foundational Black American. And I actually came to that conclusion after my third time visiting, and it took a minute. And really, when I'm moving a little bit far ahead, because I am going to show some videos that backs up my claim that I was spiritually attacked. Okay, so I have there is something sinister that is going on here. So I'm going to go back to this dream that I had 10 years ago. Now, it's a little over 10 years ago. So in this dream, I met 3 West African individuals, 2 girls and 1 guy. Now, at that time, after that, I did a DNA test on Ancestry, and that there's, in that regard, is bogus as far as pinpointing the demographics from where your lineage began. That right there is, that was cruel, okay? But Ancestry.com does have a different avenue where you can build your family tree and the genealogy portion, where you can, they have databases where you can do your research. And that part that's where I ended up after I went through the hell that I went through. I eventually started doing some research into my lineage, okay? And found out some things, all right? So I had this dream that I met these 3 Africans who was from West Africa specifically. And I really liked the guy. Okay, I liked the guy. And so I was talking to them, and all of a sudden, one of the African girls started biting my feet, and I felt that shit in my dream. And she said that I owed them taxes. And those were her words, that I owed them taxes. And I yelled, and okay, my name is Moon Eyes, okay? So I yelled, and what happened was fire came out of my eyes, and it torched the shit out of this African bitch. I mean, she was frightened and everything, and I woke up, and I was there was some satisfaction in a way where I was standing up for myself, but it was also symbolic. And when I think about that dream today, I know that it has some relevance as far as what I went through with this African dude. So keep in mind that I had this dream prior to meeting him. And also that I shortly after that, I had a DNA test that said that my ancestors was from West Africa. So I really aligned my dream with the ancestry tests, and but I didn't necessarily put it together with Michael. But yeah, that was Michael in the dream. I liked the African dude. Okay. So, in these texts, they're actually emails. They're not text messages. They're emails. I almost died, and he was still asking me for money. I mean, this was like financial abuse. And I'm going to show you towards the end of this video just how crazy it was. Okay. So, yeah, I was upset. And that was the point too, where I was starting to break free of whatever he did. Well, I know what it was. It was that juju shit. So, but I was under a spell. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I was going through some extensive grief therapy because I had lost my previous husband, and my motherfucking therapist died. Okay. She died on me, and that ripped my heart apart. And so I was wide open for this sucker to come in and take advantage of me. And with this next video message where he says he has on there, "I love you." Now, this is an example of what I've been going through. I always got these sad, sorry messages. He says here that the hospital is demanding $1,100. And I gave him, like what he said, the $300 that he deposited. I gave him that money like the day before. I mean, this was bad. This was horrible. This guy right here is a pathological liar. Okay. And I never really experienced something just so intense like this. I mean, I've met up with my fair share of assholes. Okay. Which is why I adopt the path of self-love now. Self-love, y'all. But this right here was wild. It was some third world crazy shit, y'all. Okay, so what we're about to go through now, what I'm about to do now is we're going to go through some videos, and we're going to react to some videos. I'm going to react to some videos, and I'm going to share my experience along the way. Y'all get ready for some crazy shit, y'all.
He messaged me because he wanted to talk about Nigeria, his country, and the scamming, and in the end offered me money, which I found a bit strange. Anyway, this is how it goes. He goes, "Hello, ma'am. I'm from Nigeria, and we need to talk about my country because what you said wasn't fair, and also him, though." I said nothing. I just read what the messages were to me. It's got out of hand. I have no beef with Nigerians, only scammers. And if some of the scammers that message me are Nigerian, then so be it. He said, look, man, we really have to talk about the scammers. I'm not one of them, but I have brothers and cousins who scam. I said, okay, talk away. He said, so basically I'm a trader. I said, okay. He said, most people think I scam because I make about $5,000 a month. I said, okay, how? He said, so now scammers are called Yahoo boys, right? I said, yes, I know that. He said, the reason they scam isn't because of the ancestors shit at all. That's crap. I said, I know it's an excuse.
Okay, so these scammers use that whole transatlantic slave trade shit as an excuse to scam. And Michael tried that shit too. Like, I had to tell him, these are not your direct ancestors. These are my direct ancestors. And then I later found out that only 4% of them motherfuckers made it here. The rest of them went to the Caribbeans, okay? And you can see that in their cultures, okay? We are something totally different. On the spectrum of, if you look at if you want to use black as a reference to dark pigment, we're in that family, but there's a spectrum, and we're like day and night, okay? Trust. So he is using, he's saying it's not the ancestors, because they seem to omit the whole point of 4% of them made it here during a slave trade. It wasn't a slave running and get them and bring them back. It was a trade. And they want to use that and to feel like victims to give themselves the go-ahead to destroy people's lives. So, just fucking liars, okay? It's crazy, y'all.
He said, what he was saying is straight dog shit. It's an excuse. I said, yep. He said, but the main reason has to do with something they call peer grouping. Imagine a young guy or girl and you see someone malooing money from scamming, you obviously want to join in, just like the gangs and she. How it all started was kind of a mistake. It started when a guy used a scamming to cash out during the early 2000s when Yahoo was the go-to messaging app, you feel me? I said, oh really? He said, that's why it's called Yahoo. It's not that old actually. So whenever he makes it big, he copies it and calls it format. So wherever the format is shared and it works, it keeps being shared and so on. You understand? So the format is how they approach you and how they try and get money out of you. So now there are a lot of format: dating, hookup, visa format, lottery, military, house rental, shares, investments and so on. A format is made up and it works. It becomes a format, which boys would want to get their hands on. Some even pay for it. So it's not anything ancestry, it's just learnt and shared. I said, okay. He said, it's not happening because of you enslaved us. No. But still, that thought is like fuel to the work, not the reason. It fuels the urge to scam, not the reason to scam.
You weren't the one enslaved, you scamming motherfucker, you. That shit, look, my ancestors, I'm an empath, okay? I was born with a halo over my head and a veil covering my face, and I've always been sensitive, always. So that shit really gets my goat. It's just lies on top of lies, on top of lies, on top of, y'all gonna see later on, they be bopping their cousins and moms and shit up to the pearly gates for a bag. I mean, this is like some Yahoo Boys Plus. It's crazy, y'all.
I said, I see. He said, we scam because we're lazy. Well, them because I'm a full-time trader. Did he slip up there? I drive a Mercedes at 17 years old. Scamming isn't always the way. Some people back it up with black magic even. I said, okay, but that's not real black magic. It doesn't work. He said, when they grew up in the trenches, never seen employment before. I said, okay. He said, when they see people scamming, it looks like a quick and easy way to get money. And also, some people scam because they don't have an option. I said, okay, so people still fall for it then? He said, there are different reasons why people fall for it. And yes, they do. Trust me, voodoo is real. Even you knows you can be scammed. You can't do nothing about it. Do you know there's something called ghost client? I said, oh, well, I won't fall for it. Said, I've got no money, so that'll be hard. I said, so basically you perform black magic to get people to hand over their money. He said, that's where the young boys go to the dark voodoo list and raise dead man who goes to the IRS and orders a full tax and pays them just about once $300,000.
Woo! Y'all hear that? Taxes. And that shit was in my dream. That bitch said I owed her taxes. So, okay. The dark voodoo list, or how they're putting it, he's not being completely honest, of course. They never do. You have to put a whole slew of them motherfuckers together and piece together a complete story. A forensic. You have to do a forensic little audit with them, Okay. So we're going to see later on what they do to the people. And so they bop them up to the pearly gates, and their peeps are now in that ancestor world. Y'all, okay. Now, these motherfuckers have managed to scam people out of billions. You hear me? And as I said before, there's consequences to their juju. And definitely now. And they'll feel it in the future. They're feeling it now, and it'll get worse in the future. Because me personally, I send that shit back to them twice a day. Okay? In the morning and at night. I'm sending that juju back. All right? And that shit is real, y'all.
It sounds surreal, but I've seen it with my eyes. I said, right, okay. He said, when you talk to a dead man, exactly. Oh, trust me, it will. They find a way to get as much from you. And if they have, I said, and if they have no money? He said, you mustn't even have to pay them. I said, I live on the streets. He said, it's really cheap, depends on what your intentions are. It doesn't matter. I said, I don't even have a home. He said, you wouldn't know what you were doing. I said, I have no money and I can't get no money. He said, they will persuade you into doing a lot of things. I said, okay, right. He said, and it's scary because what they need is your picture. I said, so why haven't they done it to me? He said, once they've acquired it, they go to the voodoo list and he puts a charm on you.
I'm warning this voodoo booty scratcher right now. If you continue to use any of my pictures, all right, you remember my dream, my eyes will burn you to fucking bushmeat. All right? Bushmeat sliders. For reals. Go ahead and try me.
No one can tell you otherwise not to do it. No one can tell you anything. I said, okay, but I'm actually a practicing white witch, I said. He said, you only listen to what they say. No matter what you do, it's really strong and you can't avoid it. I said, oh, right, okay. He said, what you have to do is pray you don't fall into the hands of them. I said, I will cast a spell to protect myself. You see, we have what they call rituals. So I gave it a thumbs up. Who literally kill their fellow Nigerians to get their hands on some deep magic shit.
So the scammer went right ahead and say that they do, bop their cousins up to their makers. Wow. Heartless. See, that's the one thing between us and like them African and Caribbeans, because the Caribbeans, they do that shit too. It's like that's something that they have in common. They sacrifice each other for gain. And, like us foundational Black Americans, we'll choke your ass out. All right. But as far as, like that dynamic, it's, really it's unnecessary. There's a lot of karma that's attached to that. So, and we also have soul, heart. And and that's something that got me in trouble. So I do have to make sure that I embrace my shadow so that I'm able to protect my energy. Okay, I do techniques to protect my energy, and because all of this was a huge lesson. I mean, it was such a huge lesson. Being spiritually attacked, it's not fun. It is not fun. And in fact, I believe that that collectively we have been spiritually attacked. And and one of the things that I did to unwind myself from that was, first of all, my mother passed away some years ago, and I did call on the assistance of my mother because I was in torment. And my mother did show up. Okay. She showed up. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you the dreams. So in one dream, after I begged my mother to help me, and is that I had a dream that I was at her apartment, and she wasn't in there, but her essence was in there. And I went into the freezer, and the refrigerator is symbolic of nourishment. That's it can mean resources, and it's a way to nourish yourself. And so I look in the freezer, and it's like really super cold, and there's a moth and a butterfly. Now, those of you who have seen me, I have numerous amounts of butterflies. And I actually got my first butterfly on my neck maybe 25 years ago. Okay. So, I still don't know how many butterflies I have, and I'm not finished. So that is a journey, but there was a moth and a butterfly. And so I thought they were dead. And right when I thought that, the butterfly fluttered, and then the butterfly and a moth flew out of the freezer, and I chased the moth, and I blew at the moth, and it blew into like a bunch of little pieces. So that was symbolic of to me, and I knew that at that point that that there was some really deep healing that was taking place, and I felt some comfort, but I was still under spiritual attack, and so I found I had another dream where I was in my bedroom, and there was like an alleyway. Like a space in between my bedroom and there was another room. And there was an African woman who was across from me, and she was knitting something. And I turned my head and I looked back straight ahead. And my mother pushed her out of the room and sat in her space. And I knew at that point that my mother was indeed helping me in the spirit world. And it was special to me. And shortly after that, now I did other techniques. I started with my affirmations, my daily affirmations. I set goals, affirmations that was related to my goals, and I wrote my affirmations in a particular way that I felt was effective. And I've never seen anyone do this before. In fact, I had my son, I was like, I had my affirmations in my mirror in my bathroom, and I had my son take a look, and he's like, you need to share this with other people. And so I do have a project that I'm working on where I am going to share my technique. This is important, y'all. So I used that, and I used a vision board so that I can anchor myself to my goals. And so this is some green magic, okay? So I did some things in order to help myself to climb out of being spiritually attacked. There was another moment where I knew for a fact that something was going on. I felt any bit of happiness that I felt in my body was drained. And I physically felt depressed. And so I knew that that was going to be a problem because that affects my energy, and it affects me being able to manifest what I want to manifest. So I had to take care of that. I went to my primary care doctor, told my doctor that I felt some depression, and I got a mild antidepressant, So you got to make sure you take care of your mental health and your energy. I mean, it is so important. It's important because you will also, your energy is a part of manifesting certain people towards you and certain experiences. I mean, it goes deeper than that. It goes through the, as far as the subconscious mind and the inner child. But your energy, your vibe does matter. And I knew this, so I had to take care of that. So I did do some things to anchor me while I was battling being spiritually attacked, y'all.
Either for a ghost client or anything they do or say, you're going to do it. I said, right. He said, I have a guy who locked his client who had no money and told him to go to the IRS and get a green card, in which he took $208,000. I said, nice one. He said, well, what I have to say is be careful online. Once they've contacted you and they have what they have, you can't avoid it. Stay safe. I know what they're capable of. I said, thank you. He said, you said you're homeless. I said, I am. He said, could I assist you with $1,000? It's not much, but it's something. Stay safe, okay? I said, why would you want to do that? He went, never mind. I went, okay. He said, there's no way you could even trust me, but stay safe, okay? I said, okay. He said, good day. I said, thanks.
You weirdo, you. Y'all, this is third world madness. Straight third world madness, all right?
Someone who scams Americans online.
The culture of scamming people, and that culture I think is in Nigeria, yes.
Bitch, why you happy? Y'all, they have a scam and bop in their loved ones up to the pearly gates culture, all right? All for a bag. And you wouldn't know that they actually scammed for billions of dollars because they want to flee, and they leave their loved ones in underdeveloped countries. Most of Africa is underdeveloped. There is something that is going on, but they need to start with themselves. And that has to be their problem. Fuck that shit.
And they say it is simply because there are no other jobs.
When you've tried good, it doesn't work, you have to turn to evil.
Chris, that's the name he gave us, says that was his situation.
I have 3 elder siblings and none of them has a job.
For 5 years, he approached American women online.
Mostly midnight. Sometimes I sleep by 5 a.m.
So you'd stay up all night doing this?
Yeah, all night. And I have to go to class by 7 a.m.
Finally, he convinced a woman from Texas that they were in love.
I spend a lot of time talking to her. She wants attention. People in America want attention.
I don't consider myself stupid, but they got me.
Laura Francis was 68 when another scammer, later traced to Nigeria, found her.
He would send beautiful sayings every morning. Good morning, sweetheart. So happy that I met you.
But it was this question that did the trick.
Don't you think you're worthy of being loved?
Mhm.
You know, and that's kind of a question I hadn't thought about.
Then the scammer began inventing financial emergencies.
How much did you end up losing?
$248,800.
Oh, man, I am so sorry.
I'm going to survive. I'm just not going to be able to do what I had planned on doing.
For victims, the lesson is clear.
Your alarm bell should be ringing when these new relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, start asking you for your hard-earned dollars.
Chris got only $20,000 out of his victim, but that is 10 years' salary in a country where more than half of the population lives in extreme poverty.
It's a damn shame when you can scam billions from people abroad and live in extreme poverty still. There is something, well, part of it is the motherfuckers are fleeing, but the other part is their inability to create with their scam proceeds. They lack creativity. And this is something that I found out through my research as well. They are the great pretenders. And it's like, some of them, looking like us and dressing like us, talking like us, wearing the wigs and weaves and all that stuff, and saying that we don't have a culture. That right there just sent fire through me. It's just some ass backwards, but I do believe that they're on code to, try to swipe our culture from us. Like Fat Joe tried with hip hop. It's like everyone wants to take from us and want to make us invisible and at the bottom of the totem pole. Get that. Some third world dusty motherfucker who comes here and think that they're better than us. That is wild. And it's ass backwards. And it's one reason why now they have to scramble. It's, that whole thing with the mass deportation is very spiritual. And it is definitely aligned. Part of that is aligned with their scamming diabolical ways, y'all.
Wanted to kill his mom for rituals.
This nigga want to kill his mama for rituals, y'all. It sounds like what's that girl, Gypsy Rose, who slaughtered her mom, but them white folks, they make their killers famous, and so Gypsy got a nice little bag and a million followers. She got a lot of hate though. She got a lot of hate, rightfully so, Gypsy.
It's a dark and deadly phenomenon, masked in mysticism. It's so dark, perpetrators and preys are sometimes victims and pawns.
Shit, mama should have got together a little alarm system, put some shells and rice and shit, trip them up. It's gonna be hard for you to get me, motherfucker. I'll get you before you get me. That should have been Mama's stance, because she knows her culture. I mean, they really try to hide from the fact that they have a disgusting as human sacrifice type of culture. I mean, it's, hey, wake up, mama. Smell the African coffee, all right?
It's not like it. They are just using you.
Several lives cut short, many families ruined, some beyond redemption.
That was how they ended the mission of my daughter here on earth.
At the heart of this tragedy is the craze for money, blood money. And trapped in this great web are many young Nigerians.
If you want to go further, that is when we call it Yahoo Plus.
I'm seeking to know what is driving this thirst for fast wealth.
They call them Yahoo Plus, y'all. Shit. Okay, so I was in, last week, I was in Tariq Nasheed's Twitter space. And there was this Nigerian who called himself Blood Money. And I immediately called him out. He had some shit up on there, some little sorry ass, non-funny meme that, where he wants to put FBAs down. And so I wrote and I told him, I said, you know what, the shit you guys do is horrible. You be bopping your cousins up to the pearly gates for a bag, hence your name, Blood Money. And so we went back and forth like maybe a couple of times, and then he stopped because I kept telling him, y'all need to leave that fucking juju alone. There's karma attached to that, This is why you guys are going through what you're going through. And so he left me alone after that because I called the nigga out.
Several years down the line, something more sinister and dangerous was to emerge. It is known as Yahoo Plus. After several failed attempts at tracking the Yahoo boy willing to unveil secrets of the practice, I meet up with this man who says he's now retired. He tells me he was once involved in the mysterious Yahoo Plus. We have hidden his identity for his safety.
There are different types of Yahoo Plus. There are those who are told to submit their victim's name. Some are asked to eat prepared charms and cut incisions in their bodies, while others involve human sacrifice.
Okay, so my ex he is a Freemason and some other weird shit on top of being a Christian. Okay, so he does practice the arts. I don't know to what degree, but from what I take from my dreams, he had commissioned someone, or someone had did whatever they did to me. And so he probably personally didn't do it, and he probably personally did. And it was most likely a combination of all that shit. All right, because he was so assured. He will even say sometimes when I told him I didn't have the money to give him, I just need money. I'm hungry. And then look, y'all, I was a kid in the 70s. I'm a Generation Xer. Okay, so I've been here for a little bit. And I remember being a kid and watching these Africans with these flies and snot and shit in their nose, and with the big bellies, and they need they're asking, Sally Struthers is asking for donations, which one of the first times I heard Tariq Nasheed, he was roasting this hostile ass tether and was talking about Sally Struthers, and I just cracked up because that was my experience, and I felt bad for these little African kids, So I don't know if this was on purpose, but maybe this nigga innately knew to do this. But he would sometimes when it's like I just don't have the money, And he would put the camera to his belly and stick his belly out and rub his belly and say, "But I'm hungry." And oh my gosh, look, that was some sort of spell because, I found the money. I'm like, oh, let me find this nigga some money so he can feed itself. I mean, there was various tactics, but the bottom line is that I was spiritually attacked. And like towards the end, I was telling him that the whole experience was frightening. And I would wait all day to cut my phone on. It was hard for me to turn my phone on because I did not want to get any messages from him. It was frightening. And that was the only way of even, like displaying what I was going through. And it was because I was under spiritual attack. It wasn't necessarily because he kept asking me for money, but it was because I was under spiritual attack. Okay. And that is really the whole gist of me doing these videos, because I learned about the fact that I was being romance scammed through Catfish. And Catfish was a show where, people would scam each other and they were in the States. This turned into something different where, people are getting scammed from these Africans and romance scammed. And so, one of the things that I did was I started doing some research and I found out that I was being romance scammed. And I would tell them too. I was like, I would when I got upset, I was like, "I'm not your motherfucking money mule." I started using certain terms. And there were certain things that he wanted me to do that I knew that would have some consequences. I was like, "Look, you don't know about the laws out here in America. And I'm just telling you that, there's certain things that I will not do." But one thing that I did do was I gave him money. I gave him my money. And I gave him clothes, jewelry, computers, phones, of course, colognes, and soaps. And he did have like some sort of spiritual soap that he used. And he got upset that one of his friends that he called his brother. And because he didn't have any biological, well, he had like a half brother, because he later told me that his father was a polygamist. And this was like the third year. And I was like, "Motherfucker, you just lie all the time."
So what were you told to do for your own rituals?
The witch doctor gave me an earthen pot that contained blood, a live dog, and black soap. I can't confirm if it was human blood. I was afraid to ask because a friend who asked in a separate ritual ran mad. I was instructed to take my bath with the black soap in the pot every night.
But why are some of the victims killed by their so-called users?
Victims are killed after they have been used and their fortunes spiritually taken away. This is so that they do not get healed and report the perpetrator.
So, I've heard that and seen videos where there were people who committed suicide. There are people who are in prisons abroad from becoming drug mules. There are people in the States who have gotten trouble from laundering money, allowing them to use their accounts to funnel money and to assist with scamming knowingly and unknowingly. It still falls on them. So they make sure that they do spiritual work to actually attack the victim and to put the victim down so that they don't report these crimes. So it's very important that when you engage with these people, to know that you are under some spiritual attack. Okay? It's part of their culture. And, it kind of reminds me of what Tasha K is going through. And those of you who have been watching me from the very beginning, I did start making videos when I was in Africa. I was actually in Africa. And one of the videos, there's a series of videos that I've made about Tasha K and Cardi B, the whole lawsuit. And so through my experience, because that was another thing, like I used to watch Tasha K, and so she would always talk so positively about her husband and said, she has some root dick and all of this. And so I really thought that, these Africans were hard workers and all of that. I wasn't aware of the extreme lying, the pathological lying and the scamming and their whole, sacrifice culture, all that shit, all that juju shit. I was unaware of all of that. And now that I'm on the outside looking in, I see the whole Tasha K ordeal with different eyes. I feel that, I know, because I was watching a YouTuber who follows Tasha K's case, and she pulled up all the legal documents because it's public record. And so in Tasha K's bankruptcy, she went through a list of receipts that Tasha had to present to the trustee. And so in one of the receipts, Tasha had commissioned some sort of a voodoo person. And that caught my eye. So I feel that, yes, Tasha has been using juju, but I feel, and Tasha doesn't know this, that juju has also been used against her. And just because of how she's moving and because of what I went through, I was like, wow, Tasha is under spiritual attack. And I believe that Tasha is FBA. I believe that she's Black American. And she's been with her husband for like 20 years. And so I believe that someone on his side is spiritually attacking her because she's moving crazy. And it's not going to end nice with her. So I do wish Tasha the best. At first I was on Tasha's side. Then I was on Cardi's side. Then I went to the middle, and now I really wish Tasha K the best because I believe that she's being spiritually attacked.
They are frustrating me.
4 years ago, Elizabeth Ogege's world came crashing down in Delta State, southern Nigeria. Her last daughter, Elozino, an undergraduate of Delta State University, left the house on November 14th, 2018 in search of an apartment on campus. It was the last time she would be seen alive. Her remains were found days later with body parts missing. She was allegedly murdered by suspected Yahoo boys for money rituals.
They don't slaughter her. We don't know. I never believe because of the relationship I have with God, because of the relationship this girl have with God. A girl who never hurt anybody. A girl who loves people, even other people more than herself.
Horrendous stories like Elozino's underscore how much of a big problem ritual killings have become. Social media is daily littered with videos and stories of young people slain in cold blood.
Money ritual is quite different from blood money ritual. Let me get that straight. Money ritual can be anything that we do just to enhance possibly our business or our work to get more money. I can be a trader now, then I can do some sort of prayers to enhance my sales. That is quite different from killing someone and waiting in my room expecting a miraculous money to come.
Who exactly are those who carry out these blood money rituals?
There are people that engage in other spirituality that is not really Ifa Orisha spirituality.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I believe that ultimately y'all just be shit. Y'all just be using y'all people in that spirit world. Be just bop them right on up there to the pearly gates and send them on missions, and then lie about what you're doing. It is a part of that culture. And y'all, I saw a video that I couldn't even show that shit. I had to it affected me for like a day. But I saw a video where they're these Yahoo boys, and this one dude, he takes this white dude because okay, they love white people, but it's a love-hate relationship. They don't like nobody. And they want to align themselves with whiteness, and they want to X out, as far as like over here in the U.S., Black Americans. Like, they don't want us to exist. They want to sit in our skin. They want to sit, but they lack the soul. They lack that. You look. Beyonce told y'all about her soul. Okay, so in this one video that I saw, he was taking this white dude into the woods where they had like bodies that had been laying there for a while, and it looked like motherfucking furniture. And they had like shit all over, it's like, oh man. I mean, it's just best to be aware.
But the only thing is just that the fact that they do not follow the path that has been laid down by Ifa, they are not Babalawo.
Egbetumishi also tells me the consequences of using humans for money rituals far outweigh the so-called gains.
What these people are after is just getting money. We don't know whether they are having problems in their homes. We don't know whether they are losing their children, whether they are losing their wives. Anything could be happening to them. I see those things as consequences already.
You're absolutely right. Which is why the continent of Africa is pretty much third world with no infrastructure. I mean, it's stuck back into time. It's like stepping into a motherfucking poverty portal. Okay? And I've been there. So you can't sit up there and, cast that little spell about welcome to Wakanda. That bitch is whack-conda. It's whack. All right. So she's absolutely right. That type of work does have spiritual consequences, but I don't think that there's so much of it that they just give zero fucks. So it's up to individuals to wake up to this and to protect themselves and protect their energy. And that's something that I dedicated myself to do for the rest of my life, is to protect my energy through affirmations and visualizations, because we do have what is called an aura. We do have energy, and we're mostly made of water. So there are some spiritual avenues related to that. And one of which is, individuals are open to being spiritually attacked. So, this is my story, and also, like I said, some receipts. And speaking of receipts, this is something that I am going to show y'all right now, as far as from 23 up into 2024. This is a motherfucking example of what I've been through. And these are receipts as far as the frequency and the money that I sent to him. As I mentioned before, I've sent like Bitcoins. I sent like those gift cards, but I found this avenue as far as an app where I could send money directly to his bank accounts and also to POS systems, because that's something that they use out there, is like a POS system to make payments. So I'm not going to display the app because I do not want anyone to download this shit and to further become victims. I tried to hide his name, but as you can see, some of that shit popped up, and it is what the fuck it is. I tried. But this drove me almost insane, but I caught myself. So I want to thank y'all for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until then, peace.